All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 3 of the Films with Ferrell podcast. Thanks for taking the time to join me here today. Pretty excited about this movie that we will be reviewing. It's probably one of the newest movies. Well, it is the newest movie that I have reviewed, meaning that you won't have to jump on Hulu and scroll back into like 2019 or anything like that to view it. In fact, I think it's the only movie right now where you are probably seeing trailers for the movie while you might be listening to this, or you listen to this and then you will not stop seeing trailers about this movie. Gotta love Big Brother watching after you, and more importantly, I guess, promoting the brand. But very excited here to talk to you about the Tomorrow War. Really excited for all the listeners here joining me on this episode 3. And really, episode 3 would be nothing without another sponsor here. We've been really blessed to have so many sponsors actually coming forward and making this dream a reality. So big shout out to episodes 3's sponsor here is Larry's Laxatives. Larry's Laxatives, curing the pain of the excruciating strain. Larry's Laxatives. Really excited for you guys to join us here today, and we'll get things started. All right, guys, so breaking into it, like I mentioned, The Tomorrow War is an Amazon original movie. It's streaming on the Amazon platform. Something that's cool about Amazon, not that they need any more money, but if you do have Amazon Prime, you have the Amazon Prime streaming. So something really cool to check out. They do have a lot of good original programming, whether it be television shows or just their own movies in this case. Something that I found interesting about this movie right off the bat was it didn't start out as an Amazon original. In fact, Paramount actually sold The Tomorrow War to Amazon for about $200 million due to COVID. It was meant for a theater release, but with everything shutting down, with the movie business really kind of hitting a standstill, Amazon was able to come in and put $200 million towards this movie. And I'm sure just based on what I've seen with how much this movie has been grossing so far with advertisements and things like that, it seems to be pretty well off. This movie was directed by Chris McKay. Chris McKay, known from directing the Lego Batman movie. Now, if there's one thing you know about me, I love Batman, I love Legos. Anytime you can kind of put the two together, hey, I am sold, take all of my money. Something I would actually pay for, unlike the Nicolas Cage movie we watched last week. Written by Zachary Dean as well, but more importantly, kind of the billing, the actors and actresses in this movie. You have Yvonne Strahovski. Yvonne has been in The Handmaid's Tale as of recent. She was also in a television show called Chuck many years ago on NBC. Very good as well, very talented actress. You have J.K. Simmons. J.K. Simmons is literally, I think, in almost every movie maybe ever made. Kind of similar to Nicolas Cage, but J.K. Simmons is an absolute beast in this movie. He was in Whiplash. He was in Palm Springs, Spider-Man, the Farmers Insurance commercial. So, odds are you know who J.K. Simmons is. And then taking, the top billing of this movie, Chris Pratt. Chris Pratt. Chris Pratt, Guardians of the Galaxy, Parks and Rec, Jurassic Park. A lot of great movies, comedy, dramas, actions, anything you can kind of think of. Hey, Chris Pratt's there. I really like Chris Pratt in action movies. I mean, he's got that comedic wit to him, but he gets down and dirty in those action movies. I mean, he completely just got cut up. Probably, I would assume, once he started doing Guardians of the Galaxy, he went from Andy in Parks and Rec to just like Mr. Six-Pack slaying dinosaurs. But very solid movie, very solid cast, very solid just story written about it. I was really shocked when I watched this movie. For our listeners actually watching, if you watch a trailer, the trailer doesn't really show much of what this story is about. When I watched this trailer, I had really thought it was some, romantic action drama involving Chris Pratt and Yvonne, and them just going into the future and killing some aliens. When you actually watch the movie, there is a lot more to the story. There is a story of family, father-son relationship, father-daughter relationship, relationship with oneself. I mean, there's a lot to actually unpack there. So I was surprised. Typically, the trailers give a lot away in terms of actually watching the movie. But I think you, the viewer, would be pleasantly surprised if you do watch this trailer and you think, hey, I don't want to watch Chris Pratt killing aliens in just another action movie. There is a lot more to unpack in terms of the overall story, the overall tone of this movie. The IMDb storyline that we typically do is the world is stunned stunned when a group of time travelers arrive from the year 2051 to deliver an urgent message. 30 years in the future, mankind is losing a global war against a deadly alien species. The only hope for survival is if soldiers and civilians from the present to be transported to the future and join the fight. Among those recruited is high school teacher and family man Dan Forrester. Determined to save the world for his younger daughter, Dan teams up with a brilliant scientist and his estranged father in a desperate quest to rewrite the fate of the planet. So, obviously with that even in mind too, you watch the trailer, you think, oh, okay, like this is going to be a pretty big action movie. I don't really like action, so maybe I'm not going to watch the movie. I would say definitely watch the movie because it's a lot different than, that storyline even entails. It's a much larger story about, father and daughter, father and son. So definitely a solid movie. It all kind of revolves around we're in present day. I believe this movie takes place in our present of 2021, 2022, somewhere around there. What happens is, people from the future are teleporting back in time, okay? They're from the year 2051. What's happening is 30 years in the future, there are these alien beings called white spikes. Now, the white spikes are completely just wiping out the entire population. America, Spain, Brazil, Antarctica, if there's people there, the whole world is being just overran by these white spikes. And what's happening is they are just running out of people. Okay, the race to kind of save humanity is absolutely gone. So they've been able to develop some sort of time travel to where, they can enlist the people of 2021, 2022, somewhere around there, more bodies and able to just fight these white spikes. So there's a draft. People are getting picked left and right. They're only serving a 7-day tour. If they make it back after 7 days, hey, they no longer have to go back there. But, they're just trying to really save the earth for their children and their grandchildren. So, really interesting story attached to it. But, before we go any deeper, we do obviously want to talk a little bit about Larry's laxatives here. They're promoting the show, really helping the show grow. Cleanse the body, cleanse the soul. Just make sure to clean your toilet bowl. Larry's laxatives. All right, guys. So, before we go any further, probably talk about some spoilers here in a little bit. If you haven't definitely watched the trailer, do me a favor, watch the movie before we go any further in this podcast. I strongly recommend this movie. It's got a great story that we won't go into as of right now. It's got some great actors and actresses in it. It's beautifully shot. The alien beings are scary as fuck. It's just a very good overall movie. It's a new movie. In today's age right now, obviously the movies are firing back up a little bit more and more, but we're not seeing a lot of movies coming out as of right now in terms of originality. I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm tired of watching the same 20 movies that I might stream on a Hulu, Netflix, Disney, Apple, whatever. You run out of television shows. The ABC, CBS, NBC, they're all breaking until fall when they, get the new lineups out there. So definitely, if you have Amazon, I would strongly, strongly, strongly recommend hitting that pause button on the TV, maybe dedicating about 2 hours, 15 minutes of your time, jump back in here ready to talk shop about the movies. Yeah, so as I mentioned, the trailer does not do this movie justice at all. Watching a lot of movies, kind of understanding how things are written, how things might pop up, suspense and things like that, I knew when you spent a lot of time really investing in Chris Pratt's daughter, or in this case Dan Forrester's daughter, very early on in the movie, she's going to play a big role in this. And especially if we're going to kind of talk about the present and the future, he would be kind of seeing her along the way. Movie is just kind of wild though. You're introduced to J.K. Simmons very kind of early on before Dan's actually drafted into this futuristic army, but you don't really kind of know what role he plays, but you just kind of know that eventually something's going to happen with the daughter. Now, when I watched the trailer, I really thought that this was going to be, a relationship type movie with Chris Pratt and Yvonne Strahovski. I mean, I really thought that, his characters fall in love in the future, something like that, and then she comes back in the past. They develop some sort of formula to, kill these white spikes. But, in watching the movie, you can kind of tell almost, I'd say within the first 20 minutes before you're really even introduced to Yvonne that has to be his daughter. It's just paving the way, and that's what really makes this movie stick out to me, and why I think it was so just well done is, you have Dan Forrester going into the future to actually kind of stop the white spikes with his daughter. He spends 7 days really, helping save her, but then in reality, he has to, part ways with her in order to go back. I mean, it's, it's just kind of, I don't know, it's really a lot to unpack, a lot more than the trailer actually does it justice for. That was, I think, probably the best storyline that I could have probably got out of it was just Dan's quest to kind of, help his daughter. But in turn, Dan kind of looks like the hero because, towards the end of the movie, Dan's able to, with the help of his daughter, actually find that, I'm no scientist, no biology major. I just, like to talk into a microphone. I will call it some kind of, formula to actually kill these white spikes, but they really can't use it now. I mean, the population is just being wiped out. So, she was able to, come up with this formula. She was able to kind of, save the whole, the planet. But now it's up to Chris Pratt to actually kind of take this and, now he is the one to actually save all of humanity. Where, Miri, that's his daughter's name, she did this. She gives it to him to go back to the past in order to, I guess, get that gratification to, be saving the world as well. But, it's kind of cool because it was his daughter, but he can never actually tell his daughter because that would probably, blow up some time continuum type thing that you see in other movies. But, just absolutely great story right there to keep talking about. I mean, it was just kind of wild to think that, hey, you're going 30 years in the future, to save the world with your daughter. Now, I don't know if this was just a spoof or something like that. I don't have much trivia on this movie except for the fact that, Paramount sold this to Amazon for $200 million. I mean, that's just a greedy fact, not too much of a fun fact. But you kind of noticed when they're talking about, when Chris Pratt is getting all of his information, scrubbed, when they're putting the bracelet on his arm, telling him that he will die in the year 31. He's going to die in 15, 20 years anyway. So, we can go ahead and send him out into war. When they can't find some of the information on his daughter, you kind of realize that the daughter, Miri, had something to do with pulling her father, from the present into the future to help her. She knew that she was going to, if the stars aligned, she knew that she was going to be able to find this formula in order to save mankind. And, if he stayed alive, they would be able to transport back into present day 2021, 2022, and prevent this from ever happening. So I just thought that was just overall a really cool story. You have, some good comedic rhythm in there in the cast as well. But, overall just the story between father and daughter just really, is what kind of stuck out to me in this movie. I thought it was just very well done in that aspect. Yeah, so Chris Pratt's able to, create that antidote. He, gets his daughter to hand it to him. He's getting ready to ship off, but all of a sudden the facility that they're at is getting overran by white spikes, and I guess obviously tough. Chris Pratt spends his time meeting his daughter in the future just to see her kind of fall into just an invasion of white spikes right as he's teleporting away. There was no way around that, but that obviously has to be a big mental fuck that you just watched your daughter 30 years in the future, regardless, it's your daughter, it's your blood, die right in front of your eyes, but also realizing at the same time, hey, I can prevent this from ever happening. But, those 7 days with a real person, that was your daughter, she is responsible for all this, to watch her die. And then, he comes back, fully intact, and, he can see his daughter again, kind of just has that mental clarity. Hey, you know what? We can prevent this. So, I thought it was just really cool too, just trying to, I guess, pinpoint how the white spikes even, came here in the first place. And we find out that it happened many, 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 many years ago, and due to global warming and things like that, the layers of ice in Russia getting smaller and smaller, and shrinking, just getting warmer, uncovering their spaceship where the white spikes were actually living. So being able to kind of find out when it was there, how far, where they would actually need to dig in order to go in there, then obviously, a lot of shit goes down, and Chris Pratt saves the day with the help of J.K. Simmons, his father, James Forrester. So, something kind of cool. It's, Chris Pratt and his dad really not getting along when we are first introduced to J.K. Simmons. But, I think through everything, Chris Pratt, kind of going through that with his, futuristic daughter, and then his dad comes out, helps save him, a good father-son moment even there. And then, we wrap up, Chris Pratt's introducing, his father, Dan Forrester's introducing James Forrester to Miri Forrester for the first time. Miri never met her grandfather. So kind of, that redemption, everyone deserves a second chance. Chris Pratt's realizing that, hey, through, in one futuristic series, I'm going to be dead in 10 years, but now my daughter's told me, how I die, I'm going to make sure that that never happens. So kind of cool, just kind of flips the scripts, and, it gets you to kind of, hold your loved ones close, realize that, no one's got that much time, but you can change, really anything just with like the right attitude. But overall, definitely a solid movie, solid story, solid action. Just overall, it was a lot more story than I had thought. I went into it just thinking, hey, I'd love to watch a good action movie right now, but, and it is a long movie. It's about 2 hours, 15 minutes, I think, right around there. So, I mean, it's a lot of story, though, which helps the movie kind of progress, because it has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Everything's wrapped up into one bow, which I thought was really cool. I'm sure there will be a sequel somehow, or maybe even a prequel. God only knows, now that Amazon knows that this is going to be, a success. If Jeff Bezos comes back from space, then we know it's going to be full steam ahead from, next week's war, next month's war, the day after tomorrow's war. Maybe Jake Gyllenhaal and Dennis Quaid pop in there, and, God only knows. Hopefully you get that joke day after tomorrow. But yeah, overall, just a great movie. I definitely give it my 2 fat thumbs up. Or maybe a fat thumb and a half up. But I mean, either way, definitely worth checking out. And speaking of checking out, take a moment here and talk about Larry's Laxatives. Now, Larry's Laxatives, resetting the body only takes a little bit of time on the potty. Larry's Laxatives. So like I said, overall, definitely a very good movie. Not a lot coming out there in terms of new movies, especially, you think around summertime, you'd be good for some good action movies, some good story movies. Haven't really seen anything just as of yet. Really like this movie, though. Not only does it have action, drama, adventure, sci-fi, it has a really good story. Like I mentioned, the whole father-son, father, daughter, father, daughter, what have you. But definitely worth checking out. Speaking of things to check out there, do a lot of promoting of our, other highlighted brands that, pay money to actually be advertised on this program. Check it out. If you do like what you're seeing right here, go follow us on Instagram. That's films_with_Ferrell on Instagram. Doing a lot of things on there right now. Still waiting on the background check to get verified by Apple Podcast. Fun thing about Apple Podcast, it's I guess hard as hell to actually be allowed to stream on there. I don't know if you have to have 5 episodes, 6 episodes, a DNA test, blood samples, urine analysis. I don't know. We're still finding out. But yeah, give us a follow. Check us out if you like what you see, you like what you hear. But tune in next week, same time, same place. We will be doing some more reviews. We'll keep it quiet for right now what movie reviews we're going to be doing. A little dealer's choice. Probably will be more of an independent movie. The reason why I do these kind of more no-name independent movies is because, once you stream all of the major movies that are out right now, you run out of shit to watch. Now, I mean, it's summertime. You should be out there. You should be playing. You should be, enjoying that outdoors. But, from time to time, you do want to just kind of dial back, zone out, and watch a movie. And, why not kind of find a good one or two that you can throw on that you might not have ever checked out before. So, really like just doing that, because I think it's, something that isn't really being done right now. But speaking of things that need to get done, we really just like to thank our partners for the show again, Larry's Laxatives. Clean your schedule, pull down your pants, and brace yourself for one hell of a rain dance. Larry's Laxatives. Folks, you have a great day. We'll talk with you here soon.